Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Good to be here. So thanks for joining me in the shop today. It's Friday at 2:30, and here we are in my shop in Allen, Texas. A little chilly outside. We're in the 40s, I think, outside, but we got a little heater going on in here, so we're warm. Anyway, I'm glad to have you here. I'm Todd Rains, and welcome to my live stream. So these are streamed to Facebook and YouTube, and also to which many of you are on StreamYard on Air, which is a sort of a private webinar platform, if you will. It's the tool I'm using to present this to those three places. So it's always fun to do these. I do do a little bit of planning, not a whole lot, because I like the spontaneity of what we kind of got to might have going on today. So today is all about spindle gouges. Last 2 weeks ago it was last live stream, we talked about the oops, wrong side, Todd. Types and uses and grinds, but we didn't turn anything. So today we're going to turn something. So and thanks everyone for. So let me just say, Charlie had the question, how long is the session? So these typically last an hour, from 2:30 to 3:30. I babble on a little bit, I turn a little bit. Hopefully you learn something. We answer questions, we have a chat. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. Just type away, and we'll endeavor to answer them. So thanks, Charlie, for being here. There's a lot of other people here. Thanks for being here, Michael. Good to see you again. Philip, good evening to you. Philip's across the pond. Hi, Tran. Looking forward to seeing you. New Mexico Woodturners. Good to have you here. Hi, thank you. I think actually it's he, isn't it? I can't remember now. Anyway, oh, Mark is here. Hello, good to see you again. Say hi to, oh my gosh, Shelly's going to kill me. Anyway, I can't remember if it's Alan or not. She's going to run in here any second now. Barry from the UK, thanks for being here. Stephen, there's a lot of people here today. Paul Howard from over in the UK, thank you very much. Rodney, Rick, Cindy's here. Thank you for being here, Cindy. Thanks again. And let's see, there's lots down here. Lowell, I'm missing a few people. My wife is in the audience, so she's probably typed something in there. Bob, good to see you here. Hopefully everything's okay there. So thanks for the email, by the way. Don't know I'm going to cover what you talked about, but I think we talked about that in email. Thank you for getting in touch. Mark Zeglin, I don't recognize that name. Good, thanks for joining. Oh, here's our friend Glenn Crandall. So good to have you here, Glenn. There's just a lot of people here. Oops, I'm trying to scroll my mouse here. Let's see. He has a question. Yesterday, I used a spindle gouge on diamond wood. Wasn't sure how well it would work, but for the most part, I didn't have tear out. That's that laminated plywood, I believe. I'm not quite sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, if that's correct. So, Peter from Ireland. Oh, good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Good to have you here. David Perez. So there's just a lot of people here. So I'm going to skip down and not put everybody's name up. Well, there's one person I want to put up. Ian, good to see you again. Thank you for joining. Ian and I met at the Woodturning Symposium in Loveland this last September. Good to have you. Let's see. Oh my gosh, a lot of people. A lot of new names. A lot of people on the StreamYard on Air platform. So thank you for being here. Let's see. Daniel says, Todd, the first spindle session available online. Is this the first spindle available session available? So no. Well, for me, like I said, 2 weeks ago, I just did a discussion on spindle gouges, different types. We're going to run through those in turning today. Cindy did a spindle gouge session about 6 months ago on her live stream. You may be able to find that on her YouTube channel. And she's sort of well-versed and sort of a technician at teaching some spindle gouge techniques. I'm not quite that detail-oriented. Sometimes I am. I'll try and give you some of what I do and stuff like that. But there's plenty of online tutorials. But Cena and I have been doing these live streams for 2.5, 3 years now. And so you can see us here on our YouTube channels, on Facebook page, or this platform, StreamYard On Air. And you can actually visit all of the past ones. If I just show this, so this is my website, woodturningtoolstore.com. And if you go there, you go under Explore Woodturning here, you will see, let me just do something for a second here. Under live stream, all things woodturning. Then, you guys are seeing the output. Thank you. Let me just double check. Yes. All right. So here is actually where you can actually watch the live stream on the website as well. So this is the one we're doing today. I haven't registered for my own, but that's fine. But all the past ones are here. So this is the one we did 2 weeks ago. And if I keep scrolling down, there's just tons of them here. I think there's probably 60 different live stream videos on varying topics throughout woodturning. That's why I call it all things woodturning. So check those out. It's on the website. You can get to it from the YouTube channel as well, however you want to go about it. But so they're always there. These are free. I had a text message or an email just before this, somebody asking what is the cost associated with these things. On your part, there's no cost. On my part, there's obviously operating costs. So, but yeah, these are free, and they're recorded. And for the most part, all of the recordings are up there. There are a few I took down that just weren't good for one reason or another. So, but otherwise, you can find most of them there. So, good questions and lots of comments here. If I missed something, let me know. I don't know how you're going to let me know, but there we go. Yes, it is he, not hi. Yeah, glad you remembered. I did. It took me a minute, but I did remember he. Thank you. And let's see. Back in the day, I got mail that said, "Do not fold, spindle, or mutilate." Okay, John's our resident humor guy. I got mail that said, "No, do not fold, spindle, or mutilate." Okay. I don't know what that means in that context, John. That one went over my head. That's all right, though. Let's move on. Boy, there's just a lot of comments here. I'm trying to read them all. My vision is not that great this far away. So let's see. Ian has a question, off the wall question. Are there any wood turning symposia in the Arizona in September, October? I don't know. If somebody has a answer to that, help Ian out. Oh, it looks like he had something here. Arizona Symposium stopped operation a few years back, sadly. There's one in Colorado in the fall, but I don't know if that's this year or next year. Yeah. Thanks, for answering. So, Ian, I don't know. I know there is a woodworker symposium that was there. I don't know what time of year in Arizona, but the woodworkers and the wood turners have kind of gotten together and done that. But if it has folded, I don't know. But I don't know what time it was. So. So let's see. Bob, the session from 12/15/23 is still available. Yes, they're all available, as you saw on the website. Go to the website, Explore Woodturning, and you will find them there. So let's see. Howdy Todd from Houston. Sorry, let's keep going. So let's see. Yeah, okay. And our friend Tony's here. Oh, you're all going to AW this year. Portland, no, Tony, we're not going. So thanks for asking, though. Yeah, Portland is just a little too far to travel for us, and so we will not be there. We are heading to Tennessee Symposium in January, so 2024. So, and then Waco for SWAT in August. And so, Ian, you should come to SWAT at the end of August. If you're heading to Arizona, it's only a short, across, I guess it would be almost across the country in the UK, but it's probably a short 10-hour drive. No, it's more than that. Arizona, yeah, that's going to be 15 15-hour drive probably. So from Arizona to Waco. So anyway, check that out. That's a great symposium. It's a large one. A lot of great vendors will be there. And then of course back to the Rocky Mountain Symposium in the fall. So let's get on with the show because I'm babbling on way too long. And let me switch that, go to there, overhead, and down the corner. So I've got a little piece of pine on here. We are going to work through different spindle gouges, and because we have a spindle gouge, this is spindle-oriented wood. Spindle-orientated wood. Gotta slow down on some of those words sometimes. And so the grain is going this way along the parallel to the axis of the lathe. So this is a little spindle of pine. I got pine. I used a lot of pine just for practice. If you can get a good cut on pine, you can get a pretty good cut on most anything you work with. So don't need that much tool rest. Well, I'll just use it. That's what I got. Just got a few things in my way bothering me. Bear with me a second. All right. So we are going to, let me just check that for a second. I've got this little focusing wheel. Get that in focus. Safety glasses. So I got to put those on. By the way, I bought a bunch of these alcohol wipes for there we go, for cleaning glasses. So pre-moistened lens cleaning towelette. I just thought, well, let's just make it convenient. Somebody mentioned it on a sharing session a while ago, so I thought I'd try them, and they work out fairly well. It lets you know where all the scratches are because it cleans the lenses. All right. Okay, so we're going to start with the big roughing gouge. I've got a big one here. It's the one I've got, so I do have smaller ones. This is the Carter & Son tool. By the way, since we're talking about spindle gouges, let's see. There we go. All right. Spindle 23 for 10% off all spindle gouges for the next week. So if you go to woodturningtoolstore.com, you can get there and find, we carry 11 different spindle gouges with and without handles, Carter & Son and robust line of tools, and you get 10% off. Coupon will be automatically applied. And so, yeah, take advantage. We thought, you know, we're talking about spindle gouges. It's getting close to New Year's, so let's have a little thing. So it's good for the next week until next Friday, the 5th, I believe. So, yeah. And I am losing track of the chat. Let me. All right. Here's a question. What is the difference between spindle gouges and bowl gouges? The main difference, that's not working, there we go, is, well, that's really cutting off my head and stuff. But the main difference is the depth of the flute. So if we take a look at a spindle gouge, it's got a 1/2 inch spindle gouge, a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and let's get all this clutter off here. So Bob, good question. Let me just do that. So here's a couple. This was a little dirty, so I'll just clean out the flute a little bit. Here's 2 gouges. These are actually Thompson gouges, so I don't carry Thompson gouges, but just so you can understand and see. The one on the right here is a bowl gouge, and if I kind of hold it up like that, you can kind of see how deep. In fact, I'll put it there. I can't really put it there. I'll put it there. You can kind of see how deep that flute is. This is a spindle gouge, and you can kind of see that its flute is not very deep at all. So bowl gouges typically have a profile that is either that trough in there is either V-shaped, parabolic shaped, or U-shaped. So spindle gouges don't take a lot out, so they're usually just sort of a round shape. spherical or circular shape. So that's the main difference. And then the grind on them, because of that, they grind differently in terms of how they're shaped because of the depth of the flute and the gouge. But you can have swept back wings. Bowl gouges, I use a 55-degree bevel. Spindle gouge is about 35. This measures out about 37 degrees on this one. So both of them I've relieved the heel, just got the heel out of the way. And these are both half-inch stock. And so that's the main difference, is how they're ground. Uses, you can use both anywhere, whether it's a bowl turning or a spindle turning. You can use spindle gouges on face work or bowl work as well. There are some limitations and some points where you say, no, I don't want to use that tool. And one of those tools is this guy. This spindle gouge is a spindle roughing gouge. And I don't ever use this on faceplate work where the grain's going this way. I talked about that last episode, so take a look at that video, and that'll go through some of the reasons why. So, good questions though. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. I know I'm missing a few. I think I need to get my eyes checked. Agree with Bob East. What is it? Yeah, okay. So Rick, hopefully that helped you as well. John says shape, size of flutes, main difference. Yeah, main difference is that's 2. Yeah. He says safety glasses with magnifier readers. Yeah, I've already got glasses on, so that doesn't help me a whole lot. But for those that don't wear glasses, it's hard to get over the glasses, safety glasses with readers in them. So I have to get prescription ones one day. Bob says he used those wipes all the time. It might have been me that mentioned that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and I have tried other stuff. I've tried this stuff as well, Scope Dope, and lens cleaning anti-fog. It works relatively well. It's a paste though. It's a bit of a pain to use. If they have a spray version of this, I might try that. But I thought these actually were on sale at MSC, at a big sale, so I bought a bunch. Anyway, all right. So we've got a big roughing gouge. We are going to let's move the camera over a little bit. We're going to rough this spindle blank down to round, and that's mostly what a roughing gouge is for, from roughing a blank down to round. So let's get on with that. And there we go. Let me just double check. I'm driving between centers. We got a safety drive center here and a live center here, and got my safety glasses on. So roughing is fairly simple to do. It's basically, I wonder if, yeah, that might be a good shot to do as well. So let me change this up just a little bit. I can't seem to get all the way over there. Should have thought about this entirely before I started, but I didn't. So bear with me a second. Okay, I'll take that down. There's a bit of prep involved with doing some of these live streams, and I just have not got it all kind of figured out. Or at least that's not true. I don't figure it out on purpose. So, but I did want to show a little bit of this side shot as well to show handle position and stuff like that. So if we turn this back on, I've got the handle down in my belly. Can't really see that part of it, thank God. And so I can raise the handle or put the tool to the wood and rub this bevel back here on the wood, raise the handle, and as soon as I get chips, I'm cutting. So that is a simple roughing gouge, just straight up and down, and cutting the wood. Right here, the bevel is rubbing, and there it's just cutting. So as soon as you see chips coming over the top, I'll turn it so the camera can see. And we're starting to cut. So you can use the whole edge of the spindle roughing gouge, and so you can go straight in, or you can use the side, and so you got a lot of edge here to cut. When we cut with the spindle roughing gouge, it's only cutting with a very small section of the tool, right there, probably where that dust is. That's probably where it's cutting, and so you're never cutting with the whole circular edge of the tool all at once. So check for round. I'm still feeling a bump there, so that's nice and round. We can turn the tool over, and I'll do it at this end. I'll turn it this way so you can see it, and we can cut in a shoulder. If we take a look at that, we've just cut that shoulder. I'll do another one here. So it's not really ideal for making a nice clean cut, but it's something you can do to quickly form a tenon on the end, leaving a little bit of a wood there. So that would work as a good tenon for a profile jaw or something like that. So there's different things you can do with the spindle gouge. It's not limited to just roughing. When I angle the tool over a little bit this way, where I've got, let me go to overhead actually and show that. Widen out a little bit. So instead of holding the tool perpendicular to the wood, I'm going to angle it this way and get that bevel floating. And now we've got a bit more of a shear cut. So it makes for a smoother cut, and I'm cutting this way, which is kind of opposite of the way I normally do it. So the camera can kind of see the flute. So you can do a nice, it's almost skew-like cutting in that regard. So if oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Well, actually, I do want that one. Sorry for the flipping the camera around. I hit the first time thinking it was a stop the lathe button, but no, it's changed the camera button. All right, so you can see we kind of get a fairly good finish off of that right there. So I think that's in focus. Let me just double check. Wrong button. Right there. So we're getting a nice finish off that cut, and that's because we're using this tool as like a skew right across that edge, and we're kind of getting those nice curls coming up just like that. Clean that off. Be easier to see. And because we're kind of skewing instead of straight on, we're making chips that kind of have some integrity. Instead of falling apart like this, we're getting little curly cues like that. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to clean this up. Stop the lathe, move the tool rest in. I'm going to go this way. My camera's in the shot there a little bit. That's a little annoying. All right, there we go. And so with this cut, I am slicing the fibers across and creating a nice smooth finish on that blank. So that's the roughing gouge. There's a lot of other things we can do with this. It is a gouge that we can make some shapes with. I like making very subtle transition shapes with the roughing gouge. And so it is one of those things that, is easy. Let me just check the, let's see, the questions. Let's see. People talking about safety glasses. Thanks for helping everybody out there with that. What angle do I grind this spindle roughing gouge at? It's a good question. Let's ask the measuring tool. I think it's around 35 degrees. So I've got that guy here, that in there, and there we go. So we're at 37 degrees. So if I bring that down to that level, you can see that is that mark there is between 30 and 40, so it's about 37 degrees. So that works for me. I do sharpen this in a jig, the woodcut jig, and so you can also sharpen it just on the platform and roll it around that way. That works too. Yeah, so good question. I was saying I do like subtle shapes with the spindle roughing gouge. Another question. A lot of questions. Good, David. Could you please compare the Carter & Son half-inch low-profile spindle gouge you carry to the standard Carter & Son half-inch spindle gouge? Differences and uses. Good question. So unfortunately, Dave, the half-inch low-profile spindle gouge from Carter & Son is not available anymore. I don't believe it's on my website for sale, although I do have those. I do have one in my hand. So here's Carter & Son half-inch spindle gouge, and here's a low profile spindle gouge. So first of all, we're going to take a look at these tools. Ignore the numbers there. I'll explain that in a second. If we see how much metal we've taken away, this one versus this one, you can see why they call this low profile. This one here is low profile. They've taken a lot of meat off the bone here, or off the blank, I guess. This one's probably less than half. This one is definitely more than half the diameter. And if we look at the flute geometry a little bit, you can see this low profile gouge is reminiscent of a continental gouge, if you will. And then this is a standard spindle gouge. Don't know, do I have a detail gouge out here? I do have a Thompson detail gouge, I think, but I don't have the Carter & Son one out here. I'll show this low profile spindle gouge here in a little bit. I actually love this on doing coves. It works well on faceplate work too. So I'll show that hopefully if we got time. Hopefully that answers that, Dave. Differences and use. So that's the difference. Uses, I would say the way I've got the low profile gouge ground is more of a gentle fingernail, and so I use this for gentle coves. This one I'll use for general purpose spindle turning, and you can also adjust the grind on this one a little bit to get a sharper point, maybe a little bit pointier than this, whatever you wish. But grinding certainly does determine what use you're going to use. So I'll regrind spindle gouges for different reasons. This is a 3/8 gouge, a Thompson gouge, and it's very pointy. This is a detail gouge because they've taken very little out of the flute. If maybe less than maybe 10% of it, I guess, and then a very shallow flute, and that leaves a lot of meat down here at the cutting tip. So it's a very sturdy gouge to get final details when you're over the rest quite a ways. So, and then depending on how you sharpen it, I had a special use for this. I don't know what I used it for years ago, but I've kind of kept that ground, and I can get some good details. Maybe not quite with that thick a one, but that'll work. I was back on the spindle roughing gouge. So if you're doing gentle shapes, let me just double check here. I have all right. Hey, Todd, can you demonstrate the pommel cut spelling may be creative with the spindle roughing gouge? I have difficulty with the entry of pommels. Okay, we can take a quick look. I've already kind of cut one here a little bit, but it's not the best tool for cutting pommels, but it gives you a way to get started. So if I was just to create a tenon down here, there's my bevel, and if I just use that edge, this edge right here, and keep it vertical, then you can create that sort of shoulder that you're looking for. If this was still square, that would cut a pommel, which you saw earlier. So that gives you started on a tenon, and then you could dovetail that with a different tool, whatever you wish. But just right over on the edge, on the side of the tool, and this just defines your face that you're cutting away. So that's the nice thing about having a rough and gouge that has almost a complete half circle and not a continental gouge, because you can get this sort of vertical, perpendicular sort of edge right here, right at the edge of the tool. So gentle curves. So if I'm doing a gentle curve like my whiskey barrel sort of piston box, I'll use this tool. For me, the bigger the gouge, the gentler the curve you can get. Small gouge, I'm going to do smaller curves. So that is just sort of my use case. I can get a nice gentle curve easy with this tool, more so than a smaller tool. So we got a nice gentle curve going on there. If I try and do that with a smaller gouge, let's try the this one. Oh, I don't have that in the thing. Bear with me a second as I switch tools and adapters. I didn't get that set even. So I have a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. So a 1/2 inch Thompson gouge. Now for me, using this gouge, the spindle roughing gouge versus this smaller gouge, to make this gentle curve is a bit more difficult. So if I use this 1/2 inch gouge instead of 1 1/4, it's doable. It's just a bit more finicky for me. So still a good job with that tool. I just find it easier. The bigger the radius of curve, the bigger gouge I use. So that's just one thing. Since we got this 1/2 inch in hand, let's take a look at how this is. And this is a standard gouge. It's not a detail gouge, it's a standard spindle gouge. I've got its probably 35-degree bevel there as well. Sort of a nice fingernail grind there. And we can do some sort of spindly type turning. If I carry on with that shape, maybe I making a little sort of cup shape there. So Bob had some there's a good explanation or starting place for it. Bob had some good points about Cindy's demo 6 months ago, where she talked about if you have that skate back problem like that, then your tool is not all the way turned over. Let me just clean that off. So if you have your tool right over to the perfectly vertical, then you're not going to skate. If you have it too far forward, you'll skate forward. Too far back, you'll skate back. So those are definitely technical details that I struggle with as well. And so I do back my cuts up typically with my hand here. And if I just zoom out a little bit more, get more of my hand, or you could back it up with your thumb. That doesn't always help. So if you're trying to make a V cut there, all the way over to vertical on either side is how you're going to get there. And the bevel is going to tell you which direction you're going. So if I push straight in, I'm going to cut that V in the shape of that bevel. So let's make a little half cylinder thing there. I don't know what we're making. We're just turning, enjoying it. This is one very large finial, if you will. So this could be the start of a candle cup or an egg cup. And this is where I struggle with those nice flowing curves with a large gouge or a small gouge. So I'll use a large gouge. And now let's make this flare a bit. And this corner right in here is where you're going to have problems with a big gouge, because you're going to, if I stop there for a second, as soon as you start getting the curvature of your cove, the size of your spindle gouge, you start engaging more the cutting edge. And so it gets a bit more grabby. And so we'll look at that. We'll examine how grabby it's going to get by severely. Right here, I'm now engaging probably a half an inch of the spindle, or a half an inch of the cutting edge. And so it's really kind of getting too tight in here for this size of gouge. Because if I get in there, I'm now cutting almost 5/8 worth of material close to at once. And that's way too much wood at one time. So again, time to switch to a smaller gouge. And this is where the that low profile gouge will create some ability for us to get that nice curvature shape. So now if I look at this low profile gouge, it kind of looks like a small roughing gouge or a small continental gouge, if you will. Let's just stop and take a look. I'm going to zoom in a bit more here and make sure, yeah, it's focused. I've now got a small gouge that's going to be able to get into this shape a lot easier and follow it. I can almost do it with the bevel almost facing straight up. We're going to go like that and in there and clean up this corner in here. So I'm going to clean that up too as well. So this is conforming to the shape in there quite nicely. So this is kind of where the different shapes and grinds of spindle gouges will help you get those shapes that you're looking for. So that's kind of very smooth cut, very nice cut in there. And like I said, it conforms to this kind of grind, more so than a pointy, fingernail grind, or I guess pointy fingernail grind. So that's that low profile gouge. The other thing this is good at is getting into tight spaces. So if you wanted to get into this skinny area, it's a lot less meat here in cross section. We go this way. I can't show you. I'm too tight in this way to get into those tight spaces. So if we do this outside shape with this guy, I don't have this shape quite right to get that very bottom, but it is a handy tool. And the thing I like about it is that it's got that sort of almost cove shape already. So if let's pull out another gouge, a smaller one. Here we've got a small 3/8 spindle gouge. This is a Carter and Son. This is a regular spindle gouge, so it's got a little bit more meat taken off it. Let me just focus that a bit more. Losing that. That should be good. Hopefully that's focused enough. So this is more pointy. I'm going to be able to get down into that edge down in there. Trying to pick up the cut there where it is. And down in there. If we go out here and we make a just level that off. If we go and make a cove cut here, put one there, one there. And take this low profile guy and he's going to be able to get and conform into that shape quite nicely. And so there's a lot of turning of the handle, dropping the handle to get the bottom. Not quite good there. And there. So spindle gouges, you can do all kinds of different shapes there. And if we actually take this rough and gouge and just create a bit of a shelf there, a little fillet, if you will, we can have two spheres, half spheres looking at each other. So just playing around here a little bit, not really making anything in particular, but what I do want to do is maybe put on another piece of wood and try making a sphere shape. So get that on there. Let me check up with the comments. I do have a few things to kind of go through. So let me. That button is not working very well. There we go. Let's catch up on the chat here a little bit and safety glasses. Okay. Pommel cut. Where do you set your tool rest? Do you cut right at midpoint of your spindle or slightly above the midpoint? So it's a bit of personal preference. If I look at where my spindle gouge is resting now, and let me get that off and see if that is going to show it. All right. No, oh, okay. Hang on. All right, it's hard to see there, but if I put my tool horizontal, I'm actually slightly under center for me. When I'm turning mostly, I don't quite get my tool all the way up to center. So when I poke in, I'm pointing at center. So if you're up and you get all the way above center, at center, your tool rest needs to come up a little bit, and then you can be at center. So yeah, it's one of those technical things. If you can, um, start there with your tool pointing right at center, get used to using your spindle gouge, and then adjust it the way you're more comfortable. I see no reason why that wouldn't work. So let me, we roughed with the spindle roughing gouge. I don't think I got that quite centered. Yeah, maybe I did. I don't think it matters. So let's rough with a different spindle gouge, and we'll rough out with the large 1/2-inch spindle gouge. Yeah. And we'll see the difference and why the roughing gouge is so much nicer. So that might have been a better view. So my 1/2-inch gouge points pretty much right at center. If I drop my tool rest to where its standard is, I'm just slightly below. So with the tool horizontal. Again, I'm pointing not quite horizontal to get to the center point. All right, so can we rough with a regular spindle gouge? And maybe since we're here, get He's question going. We'll cut a pommel here on a squared around cut and see how well it does. Not too bad. Looks pretty good. We've got a little bit of tear out right here in the leading edges. But yeah, you can get fairly decent with that roughing gouge. We can clean it up with a spindle gouge. I'm looking at the ghost. And we've got a little bit cleaner cut on our corners here. So yeah, you can do it either way. And then I would clean that up with that cut. And we got a fairly decent looking, got just a little bit in the corner there to pick out. But so yeah, there's pommel cuts. I'm just going to rough this down. So I'm cutting kind of similar to a roughing gouge, sweeping in, tool about 45 degrees to the flute pointing 45 degrees off. And let me just back out a little bit. You can see that a bit better. And swooping in with this right corner of the gouge, right edge of the bevel. And now I'm going to move the rest in a little bit. I'm going to use the wing and just kind of shear most of that off. Again, this is cutting almost like a skew because it's skewed angle. It's not quite as smooth as cutting with the skew, but it does a decent job of getting things to round. And that's pretty good, I think, for purposes of what I'm going to do here. I thought I'd try and turn a sphere just by eye. So if we we measure what that is, with my head, sorry. It's about 1 inch and can't read that, 3/4. So if I put, I got plenty of here for a couple, so I'll go 1 3/4, which is right about there. Cut that in half, which is 7/8, right? So there's our midpoint. There's our end, and we can do another one down here. 3/4, 7/8. So we got a couple of tries at spheres. And this is good training to, you can do beads and coves. I find those a little bit unsatisfactory, just because what am I going to do with a stick of beads and coves? Whereas if I do spheres, then I can kind of get an idea of what my eye is capable of seeing and stuff. So put that on. So, I wanted to, while we take a little break here for a second, I do have some things. Again, save on Spindle Gouges. Use Spindle23 at woodturningtoolstore.com for 10% off. Let's see. Lyle Jameson is going to be doing a, let's see, let me get this set here, a demo on Pattern. This is the picture. I don't have the actual graphic, but on Saturday, January 6th, so 3 p.m. So check that out. Check the Lyle site, lylejameson.com, and sign up for that one. This is some sort of pet urn. See the bottom of it there. Let me turn this off for a second. It's a flat bottom urn, and I think the opening's at the bottom. So it's a little different than I've seen before. So check that out. That'll be fun. Cindy's doing a demo. I'll talk about that later for a second. I think on the 13th of January. So I'm not sure what the topic is yet. Cindy will undoubtedly tell us all at some point. But I think that the dates she's scheduled. So week after Lyle's, and check that out. So that should be fun. And then Cindy and I are planning a free interactive Zoom meeting sharing session on February 2nd. So we had one about a month ago, and we're going to do another one here on the 2nd. So that should be fun. You'll see more details from both Cindy and I on that one. So check that out. I do have a Powermatic lathe for sale. It's still for sale, and so if you are interested, give me a call. Allen, Texas area. I'm not going to ship it anywhere. You have to come pick it up. So, but yeah, it's still for sale. Working with the clubs locally to get that sold, but yeah, working on that. So let's see. And if you, there's the one we did 2 weeks ago. If you need to get a hold of me or find me at woodturningtoolstore.com, Todd at woodturningtoolstore.com. Phone number's there. Find the website. Get in touch. So, yeah. Let me get that. Not that one. Wrong one. That one. That one back up there. And let's get back to overhead. I'll leave that up for a little bit as we turn these spheres, just so you see that there. Let me get back to comments. John, are you pining for a different type of wood? No, actually not. I think, yeah, if you can turn a beautiful piece of pine into a beautiful wood turning, why not? Gordon, thanks for joining. Yeah, no problem being late. These are recorded, so you can catch up later if you want. And Mike, no problem as well. And yeah, so these are being recorded. You can find them on my webpage or up on YouTube. Let's see, what's this one? Lou, please explain how you can use the tool to tell if it is round. Okay, yeah, we can do that. So, yeah, John says lay the tool on the spinning wire, if it bounces, you have flats. So I do have a small flat right here. So if I turn the lathe on, here it's round, and here I hear the little bounce. No bounce, bounce, no bounce. If I'm going to touch the wood to check it, I'm going to touch at the back here. Right? I don't want to touch here because my finger's going to get stuck between the tool rest and the wood. So touch back here if you're going to touch anything, and touch lightly, so I can feel the wood knocking here and not here. So, but for what we're going to do, it's going to work out fine. Good questions, everyone. Thank you, John, for helping everybody out. And so, Carter and Son says, Todd, hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Yeah, we did. Thank you very much, Dave and Paul. Good to have you on. So, let's see. Let's see. Do you use the robust spindle gouges at all? Yes, I do. I have. In fact, let's swap that out. So that was the. I did have the Thompson 1/2-inch gouge there. So I do have a lot of my own personal tools I still use. Here's the robust 3/8-inch spindle gouge, and it's got the flat on it for your sharpening platforms or sharpening jigs. So that's handy. So we'll use this guy. And again, sort of the standard ground on it, 35 degrees, knock the heel off, put a nice bevel on there and stuff. So we'll start here, and we will attempt to make this sphere. So I'm going to waste away a bit of wood here, close to my line. And I'm trying to make this line sort of square. So I have something to shoot for on that side. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I didn't bring out a parting tool, so we'll maybe, I don't know if we'll be able to get two of them in here. I didn't leave myself a lot of room between these two, so that's where we're trying to make a sphere. So for me, I'm going to stop this and move the tool rest in a little bit and maybe up just a smidge. A smidge, right? It's halfway between a dash and a portion. I don't know. Just made it up. But just up a little bit. So now I'm pointing, when my tool is horizontal, I'm pointing pretty close at center. Might actually be just a little bit too high. And there we go. So why I raised it up is that I can reach this surface as well as this surface without having to do a big dance. So this is training my eye to kind of, okay, whatever this diameter is, I want that diameter here left. So sphere turning by hand trains your eye fairly well, so it's very handy to kind of do and get that shape and form going. And you get good at one side more so than the other side. And I think it's a little bit important to kind of figure out what that is, what side that is, and maybe make it a challenge to get better at whatever you're doing. So just checking the focus here a little bit more. I have to get more contrasty woods here to kind of really check focus. So bear with me as I'm playing around with that. All right. So we're looking pretty good. I think I need to take this in a little bit here. This side's looking good, so I think. Oh, I picked up the wrong gouge. That was the low profile gouge. Oh, that's the other cartons on. Here's the robust gouge that I've been using. That's tighter. Now I'm fat right in here. So, oops, I think I just took too much away. There might be a smaller sphere than we anticipated. They are a little bit unforgiving. And where you take too much wood away. This is the silent contemplation of trying to get the gouge work where you want it to be. So not too bad. It's a little lumpy here and still a little pointy down there. I'm going to have to turn this side here so I can get access. Access to this guy down here. So now I can get my tool over more. Yeah, the line's going to come away because I took too much wood right here, and so we're going to make a slightly smaller sphere. That's better. All right, so let's get this one done. Got that right in the face. Did it again. Yep, you get those little divots and you got to take everything else away. So sometimes it's easier just to scrape them clean. And this just may sand away just as quick. All right. A little bit of 80 grit. Change those gates over. A little bit of shaping. And we got a couple of spheres. So what I do with them from there, I don't know. Just kind of figure it out. But that's kind of spindle gouge practice for me. So that is something I like to kind of do. Let me get that smaller 3/8 Carter and Son gouge, and I'll just finish off the points here. That point is a little pointy. It's amazing how flat the ends of a sphere have to be to make it look right. Can't really get that much more. And there we go, little ornaments. Little, what do you play, bocce ball? You got the little pin ball. I could put it's too light for that, but I don't know. You just throw them around the shop. Just carving off site here. So I'd bring my skew out. Oh, I did not. I do have a long wing bowl gouge. Didn't cut that one quite as small as I would have hoped. There we go. And again, pine, you get to practice with it. You get to see, and that tore out quite a bit just by grabbing them off the end there, off the spindle. But good practice. But it trains your eye, and we'll see. So we'll go across the diameter and see what that measures. There. And we're just a little bit fat. That little point right there, oh, you can't see it, way too far out. That little point right there is about all we need to take off to get that sized appropriately, so not too bad. And then this one is about the same size, maybe just a 64th, 1/28th smaller. And it is just about there as well, just those end points. So not too bad from a spherical point of view. A little more 80 grit. So let me check on the chat and see what we got here. Let's see. Okay, so you answered that one. Ed Maston, good to have you here. Good to see you. Happy Easter. Happy New Year to you and Tina. Say hi to Tina. And nice work on the spheres. Thanks, Lou. Excellent work. 20 grit paper covers a multitude of errors. 20, it's 80, Ian, not 20. Come on, give me some credit. Appreciate it. Thanks very much. Very nice. All right. Okay, so tool rest be gone. Not sure what that means. Peter, let me know. Let's see. If you'd done this last week, They are starter ornaments. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, toys for the shop cat. I don't have a cat. We did have a dog, but no longer. So that was a while ago. I use the disc sander to nail these off. Okay, yeah, that would work. A little hand sanding. Do you use cup chucks and sand? Yes, I do. I didn't do today, but Curtis, thanks for the demo. I'm enjoying your presentation. I have started using the Max 4 coring device that I purchased from you. It's similar to the Bowl Saver, which I have used a lot. Max 4 is bigger in capacity and therefore better. Yes, I agree. Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate the input and appreciate the patronage for sure. So thanks very much. Let's see. Just to give John S some competition, Todd, will you get around to sanding them? Sorry, you guys are cracking me up. Yes, I will get around to sanding them. In fact, our friend Steve Worcester at turningwood.com's 3D prints these little things. So put that on there. A little 80 grit on pine will come up in a lickety split to get that end off. So get that one off. I know, Ian. Happy New Year. I appreciate it. And Charlie says, it's a pity you're not in the UK. Okay, well, I could be twisted to come over and have some fun over there for a while. But why don't you come on over here, Charlie? Come over to down to SWAT end of August. It's only a couple hours from my place here. And Ian came to the Rocky Mountain Symposium last fall. I think he and his wife had a wonderful time. And yeah, I'd be love to meet more of you all over the world. So there we go. I don't know what Shelly's going to do with these. Maybe I'll dye them some red and green, and we'll throw them at the Christmas tree, see if they stick. So, but yeah, maybe New Year's. Maybe I paint them silver. That's it. They're going to be New Year's balls. That's it. Here's this silver. I painted this little natural edge thing. Got this silver metallic paint, and it gives a wonderful sheen. So that is Mohawk silver enamel, not enamel, silver metallic. I got the can somewhere, but goes on fantastic and just beautiful, smooth finish. It's going to work best if these things are glass smooth, which these aren't going to be. But maybe I'll do a nice hard maple sphere or something like that, and sand it to like 1,000 grit, maybe more, and then spray paint it silver. All right, enough of that. Ooh, Captain Quigley, right? Isn't it? Mutiny on the Bounty? Yeah, maybe that's what, a little bit big for that. A little bit big for my hands to do that. But I don't know if anybody remembers that movie. All right, I am wasting breath here and your time. So that's going to be it for me. We didn't get to all the gouges. We didn't get to the little finial sort of gouge. Last 2 weeks ago, I showed Cindy's little finial gouge. This is a 1/4 inch gouge, by the way, Cindy, not the 3/8 inch one. I did get the 1/4 inch one. I didn't get to show that. I didn't show this one either. This is oops. Well, that was weird. This is a 7/8 inch roughing gouge from Thompson Tools. But what I've done, instead of leaving it square on the end, if we compare this to this gouge, if you see how the end of, let me put my balls down, for a second, and see how square that is on the end of the big roughing gouge. This one, on the other hand, is not. It lays over quite a bit, so it's pointed. There's a profile comparison. So the reason I ground this one this way was to actually do the outside of spindle-oriented forms. So if we take a look at this kind of thing, I'll have to zoom back out just a little bit more. I could ride this side bevel down the outside going that way, or down the outside going this way, and I have sort of a nice sphere. Sorry, what's the word? What's the word, Todd? Shear. Sphere. Shear cutting action while I'm rubbing the bevel. So that was the intent, and that's what I've used that for. So for making these kind of things, like this one, an end grain vessel, I can go out the outside. I usually don't use this on natural edge, but just on the outside there to get that nice sort of shear cut down there. So use the 7/8 one to do that because I was doing some larger vessels that way. I would hollow the end grain vessel out, with a hook tool, then maybe the Proform or some other tool, and then shape the outside to match. So anyway, yeah, spheres are great for. I can't juggle, so that'd be fine. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. So as we kind of round this out, that button is not working very well. Over there, there we go. Let me take that banner off. Where was I? So rudely interrupted myself. Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody, over Sunday night. Monday morning is January 1. So have a safe weekend. Have a fun-filled weekend. Have a good time with your family and friends, and be kind to everybody. Thank you all for joining today, and I appreciate you joining. Was it Captain Queeg? Maybe it was. Cane Mutiny. Cane Mutiny. Close. Mutiny. Cane Mutiny. Thank you. Let's see. Thank you. Everybody's saying thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Happy New Year to you all. That's going to be it for me. If you got more questions about Spindle, let me know. And I've got some blanks here I didn't even get to. But hopefully you'll learn a little bit of something. I showed you something. It was just more about me turning this time and then yammering on. So look for you in the new year. I'll be here in a couple of weeks. I think I don't know if it's the 11th or the 15th. Friday, 2 weeks from now. And then the one after that, the end of January, I won't be here, and I may not have a live stream, but I'll be in touch with you on that. So take care. Thanks again for joining, and bye for now.